After Jesus died, he rose again 3 days later. Where did he spend the time between his death and his resurrection? When we read Acts 2:27 from the King James Version, it seems very clear where he went. That verse includes a prophecy about Jesus' resurrection that says, "Because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption." Now, clearly, this verse says Jesus' soul was in hell. And when we couple this verse with 1 Peter 3:18 through 20, which says that Christ went and preached to the spirits in prison who formerly were disobedient, when once the long-suffering of God waited in the days of Noah, it seems to present a picture that Christ descended to hell and preached to the spirits of those who were lost during the flood. A closer look at these verses, however, reveals some interesting information. Looking at the original language of Acts 2:27, we find that the word the King James Version translates hell is actually the word Hades. Throughout the Bible, the word Hades simply means the place of the dead, where both righteous and unrighteous souls go to wait for the judgment. In Luke 16:19 through 31, Jesus tells a story in which two men die. They both go to Hades, the realm of the dead. The righteous Lazarus, however, goes to Abraham's bosom in Hades, and the wicked rich man goes to torment in Hades. It's important to understand that the final destination of the wicked, which in Greek is the word Gehenna, and is the lake of fire that burns forever, isn't mentioned in Acts 2:27. In fact, we know that Jesus didn't go there. And here's why. While he was on the cross, he talked with the thief that was crucified next to him. This thief exhibited a saving faith in the person of Christ, and Jesus said to him, "Assuredly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." Now, in light of Jesus' statement, we know that he and the thief were going to Hades, the realm of the dead, but they weren't going to the section of Hades, that is torment, where the wicked rich man went. They were going to paradise, which corresponds to Abraham's bosom in Luke 16. All souls go to Hades, only the wicked end up in hell or Gehenna. In fact, in the book of Revelation, at the final judgment, death and Hades deliver up the dead who are in them, and all are judged, those who are righteous and those who are wicked. But what about Jesus preaching to the souls in prison? How did he do that if he never went to hell? When we look closer at the passage in 1 Peter 3, we discover more interesting information. The text says, "For Christ also suffered once for sins, the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive by the Spirit, by whom also he went and preached to the spirits in prison, who formerly were disobedient, when once the divine long-suffering waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is, 8 souls, were saved through water." Notice that the text says the spirits were in prison at the time Peter wrote. It does not say that Jesus went and preached to them in prison. So we can see that at some point, Christ preached to those wicked spirits who are now in prison at the writing of 1 Peter. When could he have done that if not during those 3 days before he rose? When we study the book of 1 Peter, we see just what the writer meant. In 1 Peter 1:10 and 11, the text says that the ancient prophets who wrote Scripture searched diligently, searching what or what manner of time the Spirit of Christ who was in them was indicating when he testified beforehand of the sufferings of Christ and the glories that would follow. So Christ's Spirit was preaching through the prophets. When we turn to 2 Peter 2:5, we read that Noah was a preacher of righteousness. Thus, when we put these pieces together, we see Christ's Spirit preaching through Noah to the people of his generation whose wicked spirits are in prison at the time of the writing of 1 Peter. When Jesus died, he immediately went to paradise to be with the thief on the cross. The Bible doesn't say that he went to hell to preach to the wicked spirits there. The practical lesson for us to learn is that it's appointed for men to die once, and after this, the judgment. Our eternal destination will be sealed the instant our physical life is over. since there won't be any second chances. Let's determine to love and obey God while we are on this earth so we can live with Him for all eternity.